What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back with a small transfer update, talking about outgoings at Leeds United, the lack of incomings, and also I just wanted to touch on a few other things as well in terms of how business is done, and Villa are leading the way in that department yet again. Before I get into it, you know the drill, people. Please like the video, it really helps out the channel. Subscribe, and of course, drop your comments and thoughts below. Thank you to Arinda and Mr. P who donated super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated, guys. Thank you to all my existing members that just support me that little bit more. And if you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description. It just goes a long way with helping me and the channel out. Now, listen, people, when it comes to incomings, it's slim pickings, people. In fact, so slim, there's no pickings. Okay, there is no, not that I've read as I'm recording this video now, there's no credible rumors to linking us to players coming in. We haven't had a day before rumor where it's confirmed the day after, nothing. And I even contacted my agent friend who has deals with all the Leeds things or can get information on the Leeds side. There's nothing. There's quite a few, he says, in a few cases with the clubs he deals with, there's nothing to talk about. Don't know whether that's going to be after the Euros thing. I have no idea. But as I'm speaking to you today, I've heard nothing. So this is going to be an outgoings thing in terms of Llorente. Going to speak a bit about Kamara as well. So let me just get into this. But what I will say, people, is it doesn't mean there isn't work happening behind the scenes. I know there's going to be a slew of comments coming in. We ain't doing nothing. We're not going to sign 3 people. If that happens, come back to me at the end of the transfer window. But I think that's highly unlikely, people. I think it's highly unlikely. I think it's just a bit of patience required. And I'm willing to give them that, especially with the squad looking the way it is. Now, listen, if we had sold Somerville, Nanto, Rutter, and there's no incomings, I'd be with you panicking. But the fact they're all still here at this present time, I'm easy. I'm cool with that right now. On the edge, though, but I'm cool right now. So let's just give it a bit more time. But as I say, nothing to report. But what there is to report is that Llorente has made his move to Betis, as we saw, confirmed. It's undisclosed, but the fee is believed to be around 3 million euros, which is around 2.5 million pounds. No PSR issues on this one, as he signed that new contract, as we all remember. There's no PSR issues for Leeds United, and that's something I just want to say from here. I don't really want to talk about PSR unless we go out and spend 20 million on 3 players each, you know, 20 million pounds, and then we have to talk about it then, because right now we're in a great position whether it comes to this Archie Gray sale, when it comes to the Red Bull sponsorship and the 60 million there. We're in great shape, people. There are no PSR worries. Llorente is not a loss on the books at all. So even though we didn't get anywhere near the 17 million we paid for him, it doesn't matter. The fact is his wages are off the books, and he is gone. And for me, this isn't a Charlie Creswell scenario. This is the best thing for all parties. I didn't see a future for Llorente at Leeds United. I don't think we're going to miss anything from Llorente. Won't take anything away from him. When he first started, he looked like a real competent ball-playing centre-back. But then the performances started to get a bit shaky. His injury, he started to get a little bit injury-prone as well. So for me, this is just a good move all around. Get him off the books, get him out the way, freeze up wages for someone to come in. So there you go. All the best to Diego Llorente, and I'm sure he'll do well back in Spain. One other player that we've been linked with on the outs is Glen Kamara, and Stade Rennais sporting director recently talked about him. Frederick Marassa, and this is via Popey. Frederick Marassa confirmed the club's interest in Glen Kamara today, which was about 2 days ago. He's a Leeds player, a good player, interesting for sure, but lots of names that perhaps haven't come out could come, and even quickly. I hope we'll finalize soon. So there you are. That's the sporting director coming out telling you that Glen Kamara is on the list. Now, in Rennes' case, it could be that there's 3-4 players on the list, and maybe Kamara's the 4th choice. We don't know. But the fact that he is on the list, it does tell you something, and the interest is real there. So I don't know if it's something to look out for. I still think, I know a lot, I'm interested to get your comments. I know a few of you won't want to sell him, and maybe it's because he's been here and you're scared of the unknown. But for me, in terms of Glen Kamara, I would like him to stay, but that's only if we get a better midfielder that does more going forward. Glen Kamara is not 22, 23, he's 28 years old. What you see is what you get from Glen Kamara. And we do need a more creative midfielder there, one that can create and score goals. And for me, if Glen Kamara is the sacrificial lamb and we can get a good fee from Rennes for him and invest, I would do that all day long. But this is me saying I do like Glen Kamara. You know, it doesn't have to be black and white, people. I don't hate Glen Kamara or say he's rubbish. I just think that he's a good player, but I think that we can get better. And with Rennes as well, Enzo Le Fée, he said his goodbyes on Insta as he's about to depart for Rome. That deal's going to be around 25 million. So Rennes are going to have a little bit more money to play with. They've already made a couple of sales, a couple of loans out. So we'll see in due course if they're going to come back in with an acceptable offer for Kamara or whether they go elsewhere. So that will be one to keep an eye on. The thing I wanted to talk about, in terms of us, let me just round us up, because the only things that we've got, people, are new contract signings from our academy, which is obviously important. And we've seen Marley Wilson has committed, Ian Hart's client, Joe Snowden, and I think there was another one. But yeah, so that's all the incomings that we've got, along with Alex Cairns, as you know. But one thing I wanted to speak about was what I mentioned at the top of the show, in that Villa leading the way yet again. We've seen Jaden Philogene. I think he's kind of spoke about him as well. You know, Ipswich Town are going for him, and Jacob Greaves from Hull City. Well, Aston Villa have just thrown a curveball, and I just want to say this. I've seen this in throughout time, where a club sells a player, then they have a buyback clause. Usually, it doesn't get activated, but Villa are activating the clause to get Jaden Philogene. And how this works in terms of Villa's case, Hull had an offer from Ipswich for 18 million. Because there was a sell-on percentage as well, it means Villa will be paying less. So I believe the fee will be around 13 million. Don't quote me on that, but it's going to be reduced by 30%. So if Jaden Philogene wants to go to Villa, he can go like this because they've already agreed a contract offer. Now, the personal terms he agreed was when he left Villa for Hull City. So it's that contract there. Obviously, now Ipswich could have offered him more money, and he may want to go to Ipswich instead of going back to Villa. But according to Fabrizio, Unai Emery wants Jaden Philogene to be a part of the squad next season. And obviously, they're playing Champions League as well. The only thing with Villa is they've got wingers galore. They've got Bailey, they've got Diaby, they've got Morgan Rogers. They've got a whole host of wingers at Aston Villa. But obviously, that's for them to sort out. But the main point I wanted to take from this is, when we are back in the driving seat, when we are back in the Prem and we are doing these kind of moves for, let's say, a youngster that we don't feel is quite good enough for us at the time at Premier League level for Leeds, I want us to do business like this, because you just never know. I believe Villa have got this as well on Cameron Archer at Sheffield United. I think they sold him for 15, and they do have a buyback clause in there for around 18 or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit more. Don't quote me on that, but they definitely have something for Cameron Archer. And this is what I'm saying. This is how I want Leeds United to go do business going forward. Before anyone says, why didn't we do this with Archie Gray to Spurs, even though it's stating the obvious, we are not in the driving seat when it comes to position, so we can't just sell him to Tottenham and say, I tell you what, when we come back up, we'll get him back for 50. No, it doesn't work like that when you're in our position. When you are the dominant club, which Villa were in terms of Villa and Hull, you can put those clauses in and it makes sense. But I just want to say, Villa just continue to do business the right way. And what that has done for them, there's been error in terms of players they've signed, but then they replace them quickly. It's led them to Champions League football, people. So I'm not saying copy the Villa model, like how we tried to do the whole Leicester model thing, but it's a great model to go after, isn't it? Or create your own. Because at the moment, what we're seeing with the 49ers is that we are not easy to do business with anymore, which is absolutely music to my ears. Brilliant. But I'm just saying, if there's a youngster that we have in the future that we don't think is going to make it, we sell him, put one of these on it. Brilliant stuff. Now, whether Philogene goes to Villa or Ipswich, that's not the point. The point is that Villa have done this and have given them the option to get back a young, talented player that they see a part of their future. So there you go, people. That is the video today. I wish there was more stuff for incomings, but at this time, there isn't. And it's as simple as that. So please like the video, drop your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video, people.